Hey guys, Sword Art Online was a popular anime that released back in 2012. Over the last 7 years, the anime has produced 4 seasons, a 2-hour special, a movie release, and a spin-off series. It has also accumulated several volumes of the manga, over a dozen video games and mobile games, and a lot of merchandise. If that wasn't enough, as of right now, the content that is on the way in the near future is another movie and another season of the main show. You cannot doubt that this series is watched by many. However, some of the stigma surrounding the show is quite ridiculous at the very least. So as someone who has caught up on everything from the main series, and thinks positively of the main show, I have gathered some general complaints and criticisms of the show and I want to give my feedback on them. I'm not trying to force anyone to like SAO, but I'm trying to spark conversation that doesn't just have Kirito as a bad MC as the main point. With that being said, let's begin this discussion. Okay, so I'm going to start this video with the first criticism I just mentioned of Kirito being a bad MC or main character. This also ties into the opinion that overpowered characters in anime are a bad thing. This is entirely going to be applied to person. Personally, I like animes that follow main characters that are strong from the get-go. For me, it provides interesting fights in the beginning and shows growth in characters in the plot rather than just the character becoming stronger. Same thing here applies to Kirito. He did work hard for his strengths and roles in the show, so I am entirely cool with it. On top of that, I don't agree that he is a bad MC either. I get that his character design isn't that impressive, as there are a lot of black-haired swordsmen in anime. However, it's like, okay, like if that really makes you despise the character just because I'm his model, then so be it. But seriously, the actions Kirito takes make sense, and on top of that, we get some cool fight scenes as well. Next thing I got here is, there is no character development, and I'll slightly agree with this. Season 1 of SAO had a little bit of development with Asuna falling in love with Kirito and such, but the main goal of the anime was originally to escape Aincrad. But again, we didn't really see Kirito much before he entered the game, so it's kind of hard to say. I'll agree that Season 2 did not have any, and both Season 3 and 4 did have a bunch. This is because the seasons explore Kirito as he starts a new life, so of course he's going to change. And on top of that, there is the church world where everyone is ruled over by an administrator, forcing change upon everyone. Even for Alice, especially when she was the main protagonist in the 4th season. Sure, character development in some parts would have added to the season, but it wasn't much of an issue to make me hate the season for that. And I didn't really completely hate Season 2. Next, we got the incest and over-sexualized parts ruined the story. Then why are you watching anime, my guy? I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, anime is pretty sexualized for the most part. I think everyone knows that by this point. I'll admit, I think Sugo was just a nasty person, and they were just expressing it on screen with that scene that I despise. Yeah, they did too much, and I wish I could bleach my eyes from that scene, but again, it didn't really make me hate the entirety of Season 1 just because of that one bad scene. And finally, the incest between Kirito and his sister. Now, SAO, which a lot of animes, including in this, have harems, which basically mean there are many girls that fall in love with the main character. Put it simply enough. However, everyone that did fall Kirito understood and agreed that he and Asuna were the perfect couple, like by definition. And they were still friendly with Kirito. And the same thing occurs here with Kirito's sister. It's understood why she fell in love with Kirito. However, that obviously doesn't make it okay. Kirito loves her because she is a family member. And I thought that was pretty clear. He's only going to be in love with Asuna. If you don't like the fact that she loves her brother, then that's fine. But understand there's an emotional reason for her doing so. It's not just out of nowhere. Next we have, the second half of Season 2 was boring. No, I'll actually agree with this one. The second half of Season 2 had a pretty boring story, and sure, it was a little sad, but the girl who died and randomly befriended Asuna didn't really do much to the plot, and she just had no development at all, so I didn't really care for it. Yujiro and the Administrator made the Alicization arc awkward. This take is interesting to me because I actually see both sides of the coin. Yujiro was the new character introduced in this arc, and he was the boring friend who wanted to save his childhood crush. Now, I was fine with him, but the only times he was pushed to his limits as a character were during sexual storylines, which is either him and Kirito's valet being, by guys in the academy, or Administrator trying to convince Yujiro to go on her side of world domination. While yes, this was a main theme for his character before his death, Alice was again taken for breaking the church's ruling, and when they did end up saving her, she was completely changed and forgot all of her memories when they were kids. And Yujiro did love Alice, so finding this information out left him depressed and vulnerable. So his character was pushed to his limits from the knowledge that the two guys committing the act on their valets are doing it because they just can and don't truly have any feelings for them, and are doing it with no consent, so it's really, really messed up. And the same thing can be said with Administrator because he was feeling lonely and helpless. Yujiro's character was formed in this season, so it seems like they just use these sexual points to move the story ahead, but to me, it just seems like an unfortunate coincidence. The fight scenes are bad. Again, as I already mentioned, I'm okay with having OP main characters. The first 3 seasons, I think, all had fantastic fight scenes. The notable ones, the death gunfight, Kirito vs Kayaba, etc. However, most people saying this probably haven't watched the Alicization arc, but the fight scenes in season 4 were beautiful. Like, you cannot tell me this animation in this season was not some of the best the show has to offer. And the best part was it wasn't all of Kirito. Parts where the other sword characters while in the war were fighting, and it looked really, really good. And I think the animation has a lot on whether someone enjoys a fight scene or not, and this season has no complaints. The final complaint I have here for today's video is Kirito's abilities don't make any sense. And by the way, this is mainly referring to him as a participant in Aincrad and being able to do so much in so little time. And here's the thing, the anime isn't trying to be realistic at all. It's trying to tell an interesting and engaging story. So would you rather have no movement in the plot, or would you rather have suspenseful moments of Kirito struggling in his way of survival? And I'd much rather have suspenseful moments. I'll even take an example from Jujutsu Kaisen. For instance, why doesn't Gojo just fight anyone who's a threat in the show? Sure, Gojo is powerful, but it wouldn't be interesting to see him kill people 10 times over. That is why he's only seen to fight like 2 times. However, every time he did fight, he was so cool. Same thing applies to Sword Art Online with Kirito. It would make the plot much worse. And with that, those are all the SAO complaints that I want to talk about in this video. Let me know what your guys' thoughts of the anime are. If there are even more criticisms I could talk about, I might make a part 2, but we'll have to see. But that'll do it for the video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.